let's go, man. That's what I say to Raider Nation. Let's quit talking here and let's get to work.
Gonna build an empire tonight.
Well, he's gone after 9 seasons in the booth. John Gruden, as you might imagine, already grinding, set to be back on the sidelines in September. The new/old head coach of the Oakland Raiders catches up with our Susie Carver.
I understand you're back in your old office. How would you describe the emotions of just as you're kind of getting back into it and just being in that environment again?
It's like that movie Back to the Future. You know, you walk in the same building that you did in 1998, 1999, and some things haven't changed at all. But one thing remains is the will to win. The tradition of the Raiders is still as strong as ever. I'm really excited to be back and part of it. I've always had the urge to come back. I've always had the urge to help players, and I have spent a lot of time with NFL players, high school players, college players. Because of the collective bargaining agreement, they're not able to go anywhere, but they come and see me sometimes. So I've always tried to stay on top of what's happening in case I did get another opportunity. And now it's a matter of applying some of the things that I have learned. And I know I have a lot to prove. I'm excited to get started.
So you know you have a quarterback in Derek Carr. What have you, your new offensive coordinator, Greg Olson, what have you guys been planning on as you watch and break down Derek to help him take the next step?
Well, first of all, you realize he has spectacular arm talent. He can make any throw from any platform, under duress, sidearm, you name it, running left, running right. He can make all the throws. But we have to create more vertical shots for him, I think, off of play action. And we got to get more from him athletically. I think he's capable of rushing for 250 yards, scrambling for 15 to 18 first downs. This is an extremely athletic quarterback, but we're going to put him in charge, I think, at the line of scrimmage more than he has been in his past. And I think that's going to unlock the greatness. That's what he was at Fresno. He called his own plays, and he has a lot of charisma, I think, that we're going to try to unlock.
Everybody seems to be very intrigued about your relationship with Marshawn Lynch. Whether you've met him, whether you haven't met him, has he been in the building or not? What should fans know?
I'm not even allowed to meet with these players. I mean, I'm locked out till April 9th. I bumped into Lynch. I live in Oakland. He lives in Oakland. I try to find a guy that cuts his hair. I'm going to try to meet him to try and get some secondary contact with Lynch. I want to coach him. One of the reasons I'm here is I want to be on the same team as Khalil Mack. I want to team up with Derek Carr, and I certainly would like to hand the ball to this beast. But that'll all unfold here in the coming weeks. But April 9th, I'm officially allowed to start talking to these guys, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's a small world. Sometimes you just bump into Marshawn Lynch. You know, it can happen. Colts quarterback Andrew Luck continues his efforts to get back on the field. Shoulder surgery caused him to miss the entirety of last season. He's yet to resume throwing a football, as we know. Here's new head coach Frank Reich moments ago.
He's continued to check every box. We're excited about that, making the progress as expected. And as he announced, and you saw he said the other day, he will be with us, with our team, starting April 2nd when we start our off-season program. He's not throwing a football yet. He's continued to make the progress that was expected with the weighted balls and working on the motion, and everything's going according to plan.
Well, we're here in Indianapolis, of course, home of the Colts, home of Andrew Luck, as we continue to wait his return. And at this point, you know, I don't know what else there is to say except we'll see, because there's been progress and then there's been setbacks. And at this point, we don't know.
Look, they have a camp opening on April 2nd. They expect him to be there. Again, I think the signs are positive. There's hope, there's optimism, but it is still a shoulder on a quarterback who hasn't thrown and has had surgery. And so, again, I think there's some uncertainty, but there is optimism from Indianapolis' standpoint.
Everything that I've heard from inside the organization, from Frank, from the general manager, from others, is that he's on schedule, that Dr. Andrews is pleased with his progress, that rehabilitation is the key here. There's no reason to believe on anybody's part with the Colts that there's anything untoward at this point. So, as Frank said, he's checked every box along Dr. Andrews' timeline, and it'd probably be until the summer when he's 100% ready to go. But right
would
now,
take
there's
that.
no reason to worry,
Yeah, I
and
mean-
they would take that.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, all you can do is trust the medical staff, right? And trust the word that's coming out of there. You know, when you look at the quarterback position, though, overall for this football team, and look what Frank Reich just came from and how important the number 1 and number 2 quarterbacks were in the Eagles' success, a guy who right now stands to benefit a lot from him being able to start at the ground level and work is Jacoby Brissett. And that's a guy who I'm telling you, I personally am very, very intrigued to see because I think has a tremendous upside as well. Is going to benefit greatly from Frank Reich being there.
And Jacoby Brissett played awfully well last year for the Colts. The statistics don't show it because their defense was non-existent, but he played awfully well.
Is this a lesson, Bill, though, that you don't know until you really know?
Of
Because,
course.
the Colts came out and said, hey, Andrew Luck's on progress. He'll be back and, on track. And then all of a sudden there was a change, and it just added fuel to the fire, the speculation, if you will.
You don't know until he's out there performing. That's the bottom line. But all the signs along the road are positive at this point.
Well, after not missing a game in his first 3 seasons and leading the Colts to 11-5 campaigns in all 3 years, Andrew Luck has now missed 26 games over the last 3 seasons. So they want to get him healthy and put him in a position, of course, to stay healthy. Still to come on NFL Live, last year at this time, he was hardly a known commodity. We cannot say the same thing for Rams head coach Sean McVay. He's with us next to talk Jared Goff and his LA team.
This is